Good morning and welcome to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, July 16th. I'm your County Board Chair, Sean Flowerday. With me are Commissioners, they're out of order now, Matt Schulte, Roma Amundsen, and Christy Yoka. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please begin.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. All written material to be discussed at today's meeting can be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Printing options are available upon request. The first item I have is the minutes, approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on July 9th, 2024.
I move approval of the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Schulte,
I'll abstain.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item I have are the claims. 2A is approval of the claims process through July 12th, 2024. And I'll note I do have an amendment to include the most recent payroll.
I move approval of the claims with the addition of the pay period from June 27 to July 10.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yes.
motion carries. The next item I have is approval of a claim to the Indian Center Incorporated in the amount of $2,123.57.
Move approval of the claim.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Abstain?
Amundsen,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. The third item are the consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner or by any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there is an exception, these items will be approved as one with a single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items are approval of A, amendments to the following county contracts: C-23-0625 with Diamond Vogel Incorporated, doing business as Diamond Vogel for paint and related products. Item 2, C-22-0565 with Rose Equipment Incorporated for polypatch applicator rental and mastic pave patch. C-21-0380 with Keefe Commissary Network to provide county corrections commissary services. Item B, amendments to county contracts for the annual service of mowing for the County Weed Authority with the following: C-23-0499 with Hauser Incorporated, doing business as Lee's Lawn Maintenance. C-23-0497 with Beatrice Lawn Care Incorporated. C-23-0498 with Gary's Lawn and Landscape. C-23-0500 with Mr. Yards and More LLC. Item C, right-of-way contracts with the following: Rick Sheed, West Waverly Road and Northwest 40th Street in the amount of $1,243. Bettenhausen Family Farms LLC, Olive Creek Road and South 120th Street in the amount of $1,144. Eldine and Diane Hansmeyer, West Hallam Road and Southwest 100th Street in the amount of $1,001. Item D, grant contracts with the following: Asian Community and Cultural Center for the Afghan and Ukrainian Youth Program in the amount of $13,000. Asian Community and Cultural Center for the Yazidi Youth Club Program in the amount of $20,000. Friendship Home for the Emergency Shelter Children's Advocacy Program in the amount of $23,820. Girl Scouts Spirit of Nebraska for the Juvenile Justice Outreach Program in the amount of $20,000. Item E, grant contracts with the following: Asian Community and Cultural Center for the Family Resource Program in the amount of $50,000. Community Action Partnership of Lancaster and Saunders Counties for the Basic and Emergency Needs Program in the amount of $150,000. Fresh Start for the Transitional Shelter Program in the amount of $30,000. Hope's Book for the Outpatient Service Program in the amount of $30,900. Morning Hope for the New Grief Support Council Program in the amount of $25,201.64. People's City Mission for the Family and Women's Shelter Program in the amount of $100,000. Grant contracts with the following: Asian Community and Cultural Center for the Wraparound Services for Refugee and Immigrant Youth Program in the amount of $49,310. Lincoln Public Schools for the Truancy Diversion Program in the amount of $119,233. Hope's Book for the Diversion Evaluations Program in the amount of $4,698. Item G, received and placed on file the following County Treasurer Report of 2021 distress warrants as of July 3rd, 2024, County Attorney Report, Mileage Reimbursement Report, and item H, setting a public hearing on Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024, at 9:00 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building regarding change of zone 24002-AG Ag District to Industrial District for DC addition on property generally located at the southwest corner of the intersection of Mill Road and North 162nd Street in Lancaster County, Nebraska.
Move approval of the consent items.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item I have is item 4, new business, resolution in the matter of authorizing installation of traffic control devices on North 98th Street, Lancaster County.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. As you're all aware, 98th Street is going to open this week. And after much delay with rain, we're excited. We've been kind of waiting for it for about 4 weeks now. So with that being said, there are a lot of residential driveways on 98th Street. So typically where we would have a county road be 55 miles an hour, this road really needs to be 45 miles an hour when it opens up. It's already had some people kind of cut through and some excessive speed issues, and so at this time we are recommending 45 miles an hour for this mile.
When you say open, can you tell me just tell us what section of 98th Street is going to be
Oh,
opening?
sorry. So as it states in the resolution, that is 98th Street, Adams to Holdridge.
Adams Holdridge, great.
Would move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is item 4B, resolution regarding the exchange of real property generally located at 802 J Street and 555 South 9th Street in the city of Lincoln, Lancaster County.
Good morning, Candace Behrens, Lancaster County Deputy County Attorney. We are here then to finish the exchange of the property that pursuant to the exchange agreement that you all approved last week. I'll remind you of the property because a plat's coming up on the next item also. Okay, so if you'll recall, the county is deeding its 1/2 interest in this 802 J Street property to the city, and the city is deeding its 1/2 interest in the 555 South 9th Street property to the county. So,
And then
so
for the difference, they're doing, I forget what, but
The
different
demolition.
improvements and
demolition of a
demolition.
building and preparing that site for our use. So, so anyway, this resolution just is so that the board is now going to authorize the county board chair to effectuate that transfer by signing deeds and other real estate documents that are necessary so that we can file those with the Register of Deeds. And the notice requirements have been met, and that is also attached to the resolution.
I move approval.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is item 4C, final plat and dedication for Block 117 addition located in the city of Lincoln, Lancaster County.
I would move approval.
I'll second that also.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is item 4D, agreement with R.L. Keith Consultant Incorporated to perform appraisal review services. The cost of the county shall not exceed $2,200.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. 148th and Holdridge is one of our safety projects for intersection improvements. This is an 80-20 split federal aid project. And so this is for the independent appraisal services that we're required to do for federal aid projects.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is item 4E, request for an exceptional circumstance award under Personnel Rule 17.9B for Juan Alarcon San Martin, County Attorney, for a one-step increase.
Don't see anybody to speak on this. I would move approval.
I'll second that. He does a tremendous job in terms of the translation services, and he's being called upon to do this.
I would like us to think about just making it an additional pay increase for anybody that is multilingual, because the benefit is huge to the county, and they are called into service frequently. But for this,
For this.
I
Yeah,
think
I
this
get
is
it.
a good move.
Yeah. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is item 4F, Memorandum of Understanding with the Center for People in Lancaster County Corrections, outlining responsibilities for providing workforce training, education, and skill development activities for men and women re-entering the community from incarceration.
Good morning. The Center for People have identified another grant that they are applying for through the BJA. It's the Second Chance Act, improving reentry education and employment outcomes. As a community-based organization, one of the requirements of the grant is to have an MOU partnership with a prison or jail. And we do believe that partnering with them for services within the jail for reentry is astronomical. So we just want to partner with them. They plan to focus on efforts to support employment outcomes for the justice impacted population. So
And this is kind of basically in regard to the Stepping Up program.
absolutely, yes.
Wonderful program.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's one of the things that's very, very helpful for people entering. So, would move approval.
I would second that. This is a good partnership.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
The next item is item 4G, grant contract with El Centro de las Americas for the youth program in the amount of $15,000.
Approval.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
I will abstain as I serve on their board.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is item 4H, recommendation from the purchasing agent on behalf of County Administrative Services to award a contract for annual interpretation and translation services to Language Bridge LLC, Global Interpreting Network Incorporated, Flix Translations Group, and Fox Translation Services. The combined total amount is not to exceed $50,000 for all contracts.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is item 4I, classification description for the Records Management Director.
Commissioners, this is the classification for the new Records Management Director position. I'd like to ask you to approve a different version of this. I removed one word from the beginning. It was pointed out that referring to scanning as electric scanning would be outdated, so we updated that. We were working off of a job description from the 1990s.
That does have to be updated.
Yes.
I have a few questions about this. So under examples of work, it lists a number of different things, mostly talking about supervising and overseeing, but then all of a sudden it says that they're going to drive a daily route to deliver boxes, files, and mail to the county. Is that part of this, is that they actually drive the route?
It's a very small department, so in extreme circumstances, our current coordinator does run a route for us.
But that's not a daily thing, so it's not a daily delivery route.
The route is daily, the performance is not daily.
I don't know, it just seems to me like that line would be better suited to actually be listed under supervise, assign, evaluate, and there's a whole list of things. Seems like that would be a better line to just include in there under the things that they supervise and they may do. I was also curious, so I guess I'd recommend that we revise that and put that in there so it doesn't look like, I mean, if someone reads this, they're not gonna read this and say, I occasionally do it. It's gonna read it as I do that daily, and that's just very different than the other examples. So I'd say we should probably change that and include that, revise that. I'm also curious about so we've got 3 things where it says extensive knowledge of records, extensive knowledge of micrographics, extensive knowledge of state. But then it goes to knowledge of budgeting principles and methods. Is there a reason why that one is a lower level of requirement than the previous 3?
I believe we were working off of an example that had a lower level of the in-depth requirements regarding records. This is a records position, so I think we were stressing the actual job-specific knowledge as opposed to the general concepts of public budgeting. So we were looking for someone who had a very high level of skills in the specific area. I don't think that we meant to devalue the budgeting aspect.
Right. So, I mean, again, that's a pretty high importance for us. And then as well, it goes even to like another level lower. And now it says, now you just have to have the ability to organize, supervise, and evaluate.
I don't think that we have ability qualified in any way throughout this. It just says ability. We don't have extensive next to any other of the abilities.
Well, I don't know, maybe we should just consider revising this a little bit more. One other thing is it says ability to perform heavy lifting. Do we know, like, are we asking them to be able to move 50-pound boxes? Is there some standard that should be added on that says?
Heavy lifting is a term of art that's used in all of our job classifications at the classification level. At the job level, we might have specifics related to the size of the load that someone would be asked to lift. Heavy might mean something different in the engineer's office than it would in this warehouse setting.
Right, and that's where I just feel like, I mean, somebody with some limited ability might still qualify for this one, and so maybe creating some more specifics around that would be a good revision as well.
Yeah, at the classification level, we usually do not get into specifics on the actual load. That'd be something that we would look at the job classification level.
Okay. Then there's one other thing too. So a lot of the things in examples of works performed are not then included in desirable knowledge, which is fine, that's okay. But then we throw in one of those things at the very last one now says, which I agree that this is an important part, ability to establish effective working relationships with government officials, contracted service providers, personnel. I don't know, it's just a little confusing to me that we have that in both the examples and here, but not everything in the examples is here, not everything there is there. So I just don't know if there's a particular reason why that one is included or not included in both. It is included in both, I guess. It's on the 3rd paragraph under examples of work performed.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the examples of work performed are exactly that, examples. And I think a lot of these that we just went through, the extensive knowledge aspects, the abilities, would encompass those other examples.
I don't know, I mean, I just sat here and I read the whole thing all the way through. It seems pretty comprehensive to me.
I'm not saying it's not comprehensive. I'm not disagreeing with that.
It, like, feels a little I think we're getting kind of nitpicky here. I don't know. I would just move ahead with this thing and not slow down.
I think it's fine as it is. I do wonder, though, on the use a county vehicle to perform a daily delivery route, I wonder if it just would say in that at the end, as needed.
As needed, that's what I would do.
I can add that.
Yeah, I think that's all we really need to do. I would move approval.
Second.
Would you like to move approval with that
Yeah.
recommended
With that
change?
yes.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I guess I would say this is an important job for us to hire someone that's being replaced. I'd like for us to take the time to get it all right, rather than just throw 2 last-minute words in. I'd like to see some revisions on this, so I'm absolutely voting no.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
No.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
The next item is item 5, public comment. Members of the public wishing to speak on items relating to county business not on the agenda may do so at this time. Each speaker is limited to 1 appearance of up to 5 minutes, and that time may not be reserved, transferred, or otherwise assigned to other speakers. These time limits may be extended or reasonably decreased at the discretion of the chair.
Robert Borer. And just like that, Democrats were glad someone had an AR-15. They only bemoan the fact that he missed. Unless you've been living under a rock or getting your news from a CIA-controlled lamestream media, you know about the recent attempt on Trump's life. Top Democrats have been trying to incite someone to murder Trump for the last 8 years. Biden himself recently said it was time to put Trump in the bullseye. I said it right here just 2 weeks ago. Democrats want to start another civil war before they allow Trump to take the helm again. Not that they aren't already waging a legislative, administrative, and regulatory war, but they want bullets to fly. They want a real insurrection. They want Trump dead, literally. J6 was no insurrection. That was only projection by Democrats. If you think the most armed populace in the world tried to overthrow the government unarmed on that day, you are a fool. The crowd that day was infiltrated by agitators and instigators from a deep state faction of our own government wearing MAGA apparel. All of the video evidence was doctored. The partisan committee that investigated was a complete sham. I've said it numerous times in this chamber. There is no such thing as the peaceful transfer of power without transparent and publicly verifiable elections. Our state constitution, which was written and passed by a vote of we the people, and to which you all took a solemn oath, clearly states that there shall be no hindrance or impediment to the right of qualified voters to exercise the elective franchise. That is to say, to choose our representatives, not what some corporation or corporate puppet chooses. We the people choose. No hindrance or impediment. No hindrance or impediment. Secrecy in vote counting constitutes an obvious hindrance and impediment. Farming out the administration of our elections, as you have done, to private interests who refuse to provide the people with any verifiability whatsoever, constitutes an obvious hindrance and impediment. The administration of elections belong to the people of our counties. The outrageous lack of integrity of this board and county boards across the country is at the heart of our nation's problems. The only maxim of a free people is to trust no man living with power to endanger the public liberty. Thank you, Samuel Adams. Again, there is no peaceful transfer of power when we, the people, can't verify who won. When elections can't be verified and are suspected of being stolen, which is easy to accomplish with secret software and hardware, conflict arises. The parties in our own state responsible for this recent assassination attempt are the following: our Secretary of State, for not supporting and defending our Constitution per his oath; our Attorney General, for not supporting and defending our Constitution per his oath; our legislature, for not supporting and defending our Constitution per their oaths; our governor, for not supporting and defending our Constitution per his oath; our sheriffs, for not supporting and defending our Constitution per their oaths; our county boards, for not supporting and defending our Constitution per their oaths; our county election officials, for not supporting and defending our Constitution per their oaths. Every person opposed to transparency and verifiability in our elections is a danger to public liberty. You could very easily end up with blood on your hands because you refuse to secure peace through transparent and publicly verifiable elections.
That is your time.
I can read.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak? No other members of the public wishing to speak? Okay, we'll move on. Yeah, this is public comment. This is.
I received a letter that.
Sorry, would you put your name?
Where?
The clipboard, if you would sign
Sorry.
in.
Okay, yep, sorry.
And state your name, please.
That just
I
helps.
see you have your hands full. This,
That helps the clerk's office out.
I know, hold on. My name is Alexandra Murphy, and we just moved to Nebraska and bought a house. And the house that we purchased was owned by a nonprofit. And so it was tax exempt. And so our thing is that it's no longer going to be tax exempt, which is totally fine. But the date on it is prior to the date we purchased the house, is my comment, I guess.
Got it. Okay. Should we hold this for? Yeah. So the way our board is structured is slightly goofy. We do our. Got to run away.
I do, yes.
Take your time. Do what you got to do. We have our regular board meeting, and then we immediately
Oh,
sign
excellent.
out and
Okay,
come back
sorry.
for BOE. No, you're fine. You're fine. But like we'll do this in like 3 minutes. not
Okay.
even. Yeah. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Okay, hearing none. Please move on to item, 7, announcements.
Item 6, announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, July 18th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold the following meetings and public hearings on Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024 at 9:00 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. The regular meeting, the public hearing regarding an appeal on special permit 24014 for the Cedar Hills Community Unit Plan on approximately 75.31 acres with a total of 5 acreage lots, 4 of which will be near West Old Cheney Road, and a special staff meeting at 11:00 a.m. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on LNK TV. LNK TV is available on Allo Channel 2 and Spectrum Channel 1300. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on YouTube and Facebook. LNK TV apps are also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. And item 7 is adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. We are adjourned. We will now convene the Lancaster County Board of Equalization for Tuesday, July 16th. I can talk.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. All written material to be discussed at today's meeting can be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Printing options are available upon request. The first item I have is the minutes, approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024.
Move approval.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. The second items are the additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
And just, if we want to address the, this individual's, when should we talk about that? Is that public comment? When's best? Last item on the agenda.
Public comment you're talking about? Okay.
6B is where we will, okay, perfect.
Oh, I see.
I move approval of the additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is item 3, notice of assessed valuation change for property taxation purposes for Cyrilla Crown Ltd., Tommy Tamke, The Sack Company LLC, Aspen Builders Incorporated, and Michelle and Robert Bennis Revocable Trust.
This, so, this is just a notice. This is not an emotion, correct?
Yes, I was just kind of waiting to see if,
Waiting to see it too.
Oh, they're talking, chatting back there.
the member of the assessor's office want to speak on this?
Good morning. So we have a number of assessed valuation change notices today, and I'll kind of go through and explain a little bit about why we're asking you to approve them. So Cyrilla Crown, those two values actually were applied toward the wrong year, so we're just correcting that on the record. The Tommy Tamke, that was a building that was deleted from the record that we've added back on. And that was verified by the property owner. The Sack Company LLC, those are kind of interesting. Building permits were filed for some townhomes to be built, and then later on it was discovered that those properties were built on the wrong parcels, so we're just correcting that. The buildings are actually there. We're just changing the parcel location. Aspen Builders and Benish, there was some slight changes to square footage of those parcels, which caused soil types to be off. Very small adjustments there, but that was all based on mapping changes. So,
Okay.
yep. And we would ask that you approve that those notices be sent.
I would move that we approve those notices.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is item 4, notice of assessed valuation change for property taxation purposes, Greenbelt for 2024, for Autumn Vanisbaron, Eric Kaiser, Alan and Kimberly Hillhouse, Matthew Crank Trust, Clifford and Verda Schweitzer, Donald Mitchell, Yankee Hill Farm LLC, Lincoln City Church, Thomas and Louise Pavey Life Estate, Zobel Investments Incorporated, Larry and Linda DeBoer, Lonnie and Carolyn Simpson, Ticonderoga Land Company, Corey and Taylor Vasey, Douglas and Susan Krogman, Clark and Dana Jensen, Timothy and Kathleen McNeil, Pining Prairie LLC, Catherine Anderson Revocable Trust, Russell Korth Revocable Trust, Annette Weichert, Oral Pining Revocable Trust, Russell and Kathleen Egger, Stephen and Sandra Larson, John Herod III, Taylor Neeson, Andrew and Aaron McNeely, DMS Properties LLC, Prior Pine LLC, Harry Gibenbroth Trust, Tribeto LLC, Jacobson Hog Farm Partnership, Nancy Olafson, Dennis Frankie Revocable Trust, Kent Ayers, William and Rose Weichert, Alan and Sandra Rosenboom, Myron and Barbara Smith, Ray and Marilyn Stoltzer, Malone Family Revocable Trust, Ben Justice James III and Jessica Sukup, Stephen Funnel Brace Trust, Roger Hergenrader, Ronald Leafseld, Mitchell and Cynthia Bowman, Homestead Acres Incorporated, Wolf Farms LLC, Heritage Farms Incorporated, Douglas Crozy, Michael and Mark Levitt, and Bly Family Trust.
That was a mouthful. Thank you, Courtney, for reading those. That's a lot of them. Our recommendations today, Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, is all of these applications would be approved for special value for the 2024 tax year.
And some of these are parcels that were kicked out because of the change in law 2 years ago, and now they're back in because of the correction that was made last session.
Great, great.
Good to know.
Yeah. Yep.
Glad for that.
I move approval then.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is item 5, report of destroyed real property, Form 425 from the following: Daryl Lewis, Randy Colton, and Juanita Clifton.
2 of these are based on just on the land value because of the buildings were destroyed by fire, and the other one is partial reduction due to tornado damage.
And I'll go for the record, I'll say the Juanita Clifton application, the reassessment value would be, as Dan mentioned, just land only based on the home being totally destroyed by fire. That amount would be at $67,000. Randy Colton had a utility building that was totally destroyed by the May tornado, I believe, and damage to the home in excess of 20%. So the reassessment value there, the land would be at $203,400. Buildings would be reduced to $241,800 for a total of $445,200. And Daryl Lewis also had a home totally destroyed by fire, so that leaves a land value only at this time, and that would be $45,000 for the reassessment value. And Megan, I have a handout for you which will help.
Great.
Okay, that's all that for you.
Any discussion?
Just asking to approve the reports.
Approve the reassessment values, yeah.
I would so move.
Second.
Anybody who's here.
I'm glad we finally have some clarity on these.
Yes.
This was never fun. So yeah, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I just point out that I think most of these people are gonna be happy because
Oh, yeah.
all of them go down.
It was so hard to deny those in the past, and the clarity that we have on this is really helpful.
Yeah,
Very, very helpful.
so, okay. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is item 6, the public hearings. The first is the 2024 451 tax exemptions on real and personal property late filings for the recommended for approval and the recommended for approval of partial exemption.
Okay, we will now open the public hearing on the 451 tax exemption applications on real and personal property late filings.
I'll swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please sign in and state your name for the record.
Sure. Corey Beatty, County Assessor, Register of Deeds Office. So we have a long list of recommendations for approval, and I think those are pretty self-explanatory unless you have any specific questions, but over 120 applications were received. The bulk of them we're recommending approval. We do have 6 recommended for a partial exemption, and I do want to state too and remind you that with these late filings, last week you gave us the authority to review those that were not timely filed, which the deadline was December 31st. These have come in during that 6-month grace period. Each one, depending on the month that it was received, will be assessed a penalty, a filing penalty. That is a statutory penalty, non-waivable. We have no authority to reduce it or waive it. But it's dependent on the month that they filed. So it's either 10% of the tax per month or $100, whichever is less. And I believe the maximum would be, if they filed it in June, $600 penalty, which is substantially less than the tax.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. All of them will face that penalty. So on our parcels, the recommendation, we have Camp Creek, Antique, M&T. One of their applications, they submitted numerous ones, but one of them has a rental house on the property that will remain taxable. They're renting that out. East Ridge Presbyterian Church has some lease space to a private daycare. That portion would be non-exempt. Grace Evangelical Church, at the time of application, has an apartment that was not being used for an exempt purpose, so that will remain taxable. Our Lady of Guadalupe Seminary, Inc. has some farmland, some agricultural land on 2 parcels, and so that portion of their land would remain taxable, so they'd get a partial exemption there on the other property that is being used for an exempt purpose. And then Shepherd of the Hills Lutheran Church has some lease space to a private daycare as well in their facility, and that would remain taxable. That would be non-exempt. And there may be some people here to discuss their applications.
Okay. Is there anyone here to discuss the 451 tax exemption applications?
Good morning.
And then I'll swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Hi, I'm Shay Homeyer. I am the new CEO and Executive Director of Lincoln Habitat for Humanity. We had a late filing due to the fact that we were without a director from January 1st until the beginning of May, and I just honestly got an email forwarded to me stating that we were behind on this, so I had absolutely no idea. I hope that you can approve this for us so that we can move forward with building affordable housing and breaking generational chains of poverty.
And are they in the approval? It was Habitat for Humanity. Are they in the recommended for approval, or are they?
I'm not seeing.
I don't see him on
What's
this
the legal
list.
name? There it is, Lincoln Lancaster
Lancaster,
Habitat
yeah,
for Humanity is recommended for approval with a fee.
Thank you.
I mean, the truth is, anybody who's on the approval list, don't worry, you're getting it.
Okay. I didn't have to see the list, but I
Like,
did have the...
if they came in and you're recommended for approval, it's all going to be okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
But it's a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks
Great
for
to
your
meet
work.
you.
Thanks for your
thank
work
you.
in our
Yeah, yeah.
community. Providing some housing for people is such an important work, so we appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. I used to be the CEO and Executive Director at another Habitat, so I come with some experience. I was in St. Joseph, Missouri, which is extremely economically challenged area. So we should be a much bigger presence here in Lincoln than we are, and so look for some growth.
All right.
You'll be seeing more of it.
I just have to share this story.
Yes.
There is a single-family dwelling and a duplex just down the street from me.
Yes.
That are Habitat for Humanity, fairly newly built.
Okay.
And early one morning, I went, and I love to see the children out playing in the yard and that sort of thing, because we don't have a ton of children in our neighborhood. But early one morning, I was driving to a meeting or something, and the father of one of the households was out swinging on the children's swing set. And I thought, there's home ownership for you, right? I can do what I
needed a break.
want in my yard when I want to.
I know, I love it. One of my favorite stories is we had it was in St. Joseph, but a little kid had his little Crocs, and he wanted to show me his house. And he took me by my hand, and he took his little Crocs outside of his room because it had carpet. And he said, I've never had a house with carpet. And he was laying on the carpet doing like snow angels on his carpet. And it'll just be with me for the rest of my life. So if there's anything we can do, please just reach out to us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Returning to the public hearing, anybody else here to discuss the 451 tax exemption applications? Yeah, come on.
I'll swear you in.
Oh, yes.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes. I'm Holly Adams. I'm the vice president. My husband, Rick Adams, is the president of Capital City Horse and Pony Club. I want to apologize because we were late with our tax exemption thing and just kind of explain what happened. We've been married a couple of years now. I lived in Martell, he lived in Denton. We finally purchased a property together. But being the president and the vice president, we get all this mail. Well, we had a post office box clear up in Raymond, Nebraska, which we kind of forgot about and never went to. So we got mailings late. I changed the address, and then we moved to a dwelling together, and we changed the address again. So some of our mail has been totally lost in the mail. I did bring, if anybody is interested, a copy of our bylaws, what we do. We have 3 different series. We're a riding club, obviously, where we hold horse shows, very reasonably priced horse shows, and anyone is welcome to come. You do not have to be a member to come there and show. We do have an office fee, separate things. At the end of the year, we have an awards banquet. We do fundraisers. I also have a copy of our contract that we send out with our 50C3 number on it, so people can make a tax-deductible donation. And we have year-end awards for all 3 of these series. So, and things are grouped in age groups. I run the barrel races, and so I have 10 and under peewees for the little kids who come along with mom and dad, the big people that race, and I give them all a treat bag. And we've received lots of great comments from people, and we're really growing. Last year, our biggest number was like 45. This last race we finally got to have, I had 67 barrel racers, 47 adults, 20 youth, and then 13 peewees. We also do polls. So it's just kind of a family-oriented. I didn't know if anybody had any questions for us, what we do, what we do, what we stand for, what we...
My computer died.
And so, yes,
yeah, we're
while you
going to
were
get
late,
approved.
They were within the period.
We were late, and I apologize for that, but like I said,
You're within the margin
we are
of error.
absolutely, completely volunteer. We spend probably thousands of hours out there doing things, mowing, cleaning the bathrooms, doing, and it's all volunteer.
I appreciate that. I grew up as
So
a
if anybody's interested in any of our paperwork, I brought copies, or you can look us up at Capital City, Capital City Horse and Pony Club.com on the web.
We appreciate it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So, and thanks for the work you do. I grew up as a city kid, but I was allowed to. We had a friend with a horse that I was allowed to basically, I could ride as much as I wanted as long as we went out there and fed and bathed and cared for, and so it meant the world to my childhood.
It's great family fun.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I like the idea that you do peewees.
And the peewees are so cute, and I always announce, come and get your bags in the office, and they run around. I have like little colors and coloring books and gummies and
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anybody else here to discuss the 451 tax exemptions? Anyone here to discuss any of the partials in particular? The truth is, if you're on the approval list, you're almost certainly going to get approved. I don't think anyone on this board is. So it's the partials that, and even the partials I think will be partially approved. Okay, hearing none, let's move down to the 6B.
The next public hearing is the notice of proposed change in exemption status for the following: St. John's Reformed Church and Region 5 Foundation. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
To open a separate new public hearing for this, or are we good? I open the new public hearing.
And close the previous one.
And close the previous one.
Corey Beatty, County Assessor, Register of Deeds Office. So we have 4 change exemption status notices that we would like you to approve today. 2 for St. John's. Well, it's actually 1 parcel just going to 2 different folks. It's going to the former owner and the current owner, as well as Region 5 Foundation. These properties are just changing from ownership from an exempt use to a non-exempt use, and this is notifying the former and the current owners of that change, as alluded to before by the gal that's here.
Yeah, and
Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Connie, for
Thank you for handling
yes,
that. And
answering those questions that she had.
Did we get her concerns resolved?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for that.
And the date was solely based on the date that the deed was signed, as opposed to the date that they actually, took possession of the home. So, yeah. Okay.
Anyone here to discuss either the St. John's Reformed Church or Region 5 Foundation. Notice of proposed change in exemption status. Anybody here to discuss St. John's Reformed Church or Region 5 Foundation proposed change in exemption status? Okay, hearing none, we will move down to the final public hearing. We'll close that public hearing, and we will move down to the public hearing on the motor vehicle tax exemption applications.
The last public hearing is the following motor vehicle tax exemption applications for Bryan Medical Center, Matt Talbot Kitchen and Outreach, and the North America Martyrs Catholic Church.
Anyone here to discuss the motor vehicle tax exemption applications?
Gotta open it first.
I think I just did. It's open. So, seeing none, we will go ahead and close the public hearing on the motor vehicle tax exemption applications. And we can move on down to public hearing action items.
Item 7, public hearing action items. After public hearing has been conducted and closed, action on the item that was the subject of the public hearing will be scheduled as a separate public hearing action item. Because the public hearing has been conducted and closed on that item, no further testimony or evidence will be accepted or admitted during the public hearing action item portion of the agenda. Item A is the 2024 451 tax exemptions on real and personal property late filings, the action on recommendations for approval, and the action on recommendations for approval of partial exemption.
Move approval of A 1 and 2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Yocum?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yes.
Flowerday?
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is item B, notice of proposed change in exemption status.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Schulte?
Yes.
Yocum?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Flowerday?
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is item 7C, the motor vehicle tax exemption applications.
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Amundson?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yes.
Yocum?
Yes.
Flowerday?
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is public comment. Members of the public wishing to speak on items relating to County Board of Equalization business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Any members of the public wishing to speak on items not on the agenda? Or items on the agenda, excuse me. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to adjournment.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Amundson?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yes.
Yocum?
Yes.
Flowerday?
Yes.
Motion carries.
We are adjourned.